The night it happened, I had stayed away from my apartment for the past week because my roommate and I didn't get along. So I would stay downtown until about midnight and then walk the few miles back to my neighborhood. We lived in half of a duplex, but the area is mostly single-family homes. Small children are always running around during the day and causing damage, especially in the summer. And of course, along with that comes the ice cream trucks. I usually look at it with a smile. It reminds me of my own childhood, running after the truck with a wad of crumpled dollars in hand, the tart, fruity ice cream melting red and blue on my hands. But last night, as I was walking home, hoping my roommate was asleep, I heard that sound again, the sound of the ice cream truck. She arrived late, but I heard it far away. The only other sounds were my feet stomping on the concrete sidewalk and the occasional late-night sprinkler on the cleanest of lawns. I walked a couple of blocks, curiously, trying to find where the music was coming from. Eventually, I came to a block I didn't recognize, and there was an ice cream truck playing its song, parked on the side of the street like it was the middle of the day. But what really surprised me was that there were lots of children playing, running, shouting, laughing in all the yards. There were no adults to be seen, and it was already past midnight. I was wondering if I should call Child Protective Services or something. It has to be some sort of negligence, right? But the whole block was filled with children. It wasn't just one house. Maybe it was some weird holiday I didn't know about. One group of kids, they couldn't be old enough for primary school. There were 4 of them, all chasing each other, jumping. The one walking ahead said, "I am the Frog King." Those standing behind argued, "No, I'm the Frog King. I am a Frog Knight. I will defeat you all. Then I will become the Frog King and the Frog Knight." All Frog Kings. How easy it was to be such a child. Little did they know that their parents were being careless by letting them play after midnight. Little did they know that they were in a bad situation that put them in danger. All they knew was the Frog Kingdom in their mind, where the Frog Knights swore allegiance to the amphibian royal family. In the yard to my right, 2 boys in blue caps were sitting on a swing, swinging slowly back and forth without much effort. They stared blankly at me as I walked. It was unnerving. They didn't seem to be talking or even breathing. Their gazes just followed me as I moved down the block, their eyes dead. It was surreal. Of course, it's possible that one family would let their kids play well past their bedtime, but kids were playing in front of every house on the block. As I approached the ice cream truck, I dug into my pockets for change. There was a small line, but I decided to ask the driver if he knew what was going on and why there were so many children on the street at this time of night. The kids were waiting in front of me and discussing what to get, as if it was the most normal thing in the world. None of them even glanced in my direction as the line moved. A vendor put on a show, selling various frozen treats. Ice cream cones, ice cream sandwiches, candies, cartoon characters on frozen berry-flavored sticks. It had everything I would expect to see in an ice cream stand. "I'll have a candy bar," I said, holding out a $5 bill as I approached the line.
"You don't belong here,"
said the seller. I was just walking home when I heard the music and I thought,
"This is no place for the likes of you. Get out of here."
I used to think that the salesman was young, but now that I was actually face to face with him in the semi-darkness, I realized that he was actually quite old. His face was covered in scars and wrinkles, and he moved with a sense of lethargy.
"Get out before you regret it."
Oh, I was surprised. What's the deal with all this anyway? Why did all these children come out? What are you doing here?
What children?
He asked. I looked around, and all the children I'd seen a few minutes ago were gone. Just a moment ago, the entire block was filled with children. You sold them ice cream. I guess they finally got inside. Seriously, something weird was going on. The kids shouldn't be out so late, I stammered.
Now you've come and done it. You don't need to interfere in things you don't understand,
He said, reaching out and grabbing my arm.
His grip was cold and strong, his grip so tight that I screamed in pain as I tried to pull away from him.
But he held on. His eyes widened and angry as he shouted nonsense for me.
You came and did it. Everything was fine until you came here. Now you're coming with me. I didn't want to do that.
I managed to break free and ran away. I'm not a very good athlete, but the only thing I'm halfway decent at is sprinting. So I quickly ran away from the ice cream truck for some distance. But I didn't make it to the end of the block when I heard him chasing me. Rounding the corner, I hoped I'd lost him. Surprisingly, he didn't seem to try to catch up because I'm sure the truck could have easily hit me. Instead, he kept several hundred feet behind me, driving without his headlights on. Recklessly, I turned around and jumped over a fence into someone's backyard. Of course, the owners could have called the police or stormed out with a gun. But I was hoping that I would run from their yard to the next one before that happened. What I knew for sure was that I would rather deal with rational people than this crazy ice cream delivery man. My arms shot through with pain as I scaled another fence. I looked down and realized in the semi-darkness that I had cut my palm. I'll worry about it when I get home. It felt like a stake had been driven through the side of my torso, but the music sounded like it was getting further and further away. I soon returned to the duplex. I went inside and collapsed on the couch, catching my breath. A few minutes later, I heard familiar music drown out my pain. He stopped in front of the duplex. "Come on, just go away. Go your creepy way and leave me alone," I muttered under my breath. Then a light clicked, and I turned to see my roommate sitting behind me with an angry look on his face.
Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you?
"Turn off the light," I said.
What? Why?
"Just do it. There's someone out there." "I will explain later," I said. But it was too late. The seller began to knock on the door.
Go here. You messed everything up, and now you will pay for it. It's your fault they had to leave.
What's going on?
My roommate asked. "Shh, we're not here. This man is crazy. He chased me in his ice cream truck," I whispered. My roommate came to the door.
Leave us alone or I'll call the police.
You ruined everything. I will not leave until you correct your mistake.
My roommate peered out the porthole.
This is a little old man. I'm going to open the door, and if he tries anything, I'm going to knock him out. Someone has to teach him.
Oh, I shouted, thinking about the grip that had left the bruises on my arm. The door opened and the little old man grabbed my neighbor by the throat.
You're not the one I wanted, but you'll do.
My roommate was pulling away and lunging at the old man, but once the grip was on his throat, he couldn't break free. I rushed to the door to help him, but within seconds, the old man had dragged him halfway across the sidewalk.
Back off. It's for your own good. Don't you see? It would be neither him or you.
I staggered out, my jaw hanging. The old man pulled him into the ice cream truck, and when he closed the door and turned on the music, kids from every house on the block came out to watch him go. As the truck passed the end of the block, I saw them evaporate back into the air.